Good morning, guys. You know, I spent all weekend trying to think of a theme for this week's series of videos, and I went from serious topics to silly topics, and I was gonna just fly with this video and talk about something really boring in life. And then just before I set the camera down, I found a video called A Conversation with My 12-Year-Old Self, a 20th Anniversary Edition by a guy called Jeremiah McDonald. And it really resonated with me, and it actually made me quite upset, considering it's not meant to be a sad video, really. Basically, this guy recorded a video when he was 12 as a sort of time capsule to talk to his future self, and he's found that video and he's put it on the internet and edited it in such a way that he's having a conversation with himself, and it's really, really interesting and really funny and just nice to watch. But what really upset me was his motivation for doing it, which is that he, as a kid, his primary goal in life, the direction he wanted to take, was he wanted to be an artist. He wanted to be an illustrator, an animator particularly. And that never happened. Life moved away from that, and he's still creative. He's still in the arts, it seems. He does film now. But this video kind of made him realise that he had lost his original spark, his original passion. And he's created a Tumblr. I'll link it all in the doobly-doo. He's created a Tumblr to sort of allow people to tell him to draw stuff, and he's hoping that that will motivate him to get him back into his original spark. And it got me thinking. I actually ended up tearing up watching the video, so thanks for that, Jeremiah. Because so many people do have, they have goals as children, and they have very distinct, very driven goals, you know? I mean, there are some which are obviously unlikely to happen. You're probably not going to become Spider-Man or a Space Marine. But they, you know, a lot of kids have goals like, I want to be a vet, I want to be a marine biologist, I want to be an artist. And a lot of those things do go by the way. Real life, and adult life in particular, gets in the way of that. And I think it's really sad that we let it happen. I'm really lucky that if I was speaking to my 10 or 12-year-old self, she wanted to do the same thing that I'm doing now. She wanted to draw. I think primarily, and the reason it upset me so much to watch this video, it would disappoint her as it disappoints me to know that she was so driven. My 12-year-old self spent all of her time on the kitchen table with a ream of paper in front of her drawing, and she was drawing foxes and unicorns and dragons and all the stuff I'm drawing now. But she did it so passionately and with such drive, and she did it every night for hours a night. And somewhere we didn't throw any of them out, so somewhere we've got stacks and stacks and stacks of these sketches and doodles and creations that I made as a kid. And I think my 12 or 10-year-old self would most likely be upset that I haven't got that passion anymore. I'm lucky that I haven't moved entirely away from that. I still draw, and I still draw pretty much the same stuff. But I don't have that motivation anymore, and it's largely because of the internet and because real life. It's easy to get distracted now, whereas as a kid I pretty much came home from school and my form of entertainment was drawing or world building or writing stories about dragons and foxes and unicorns. Whereas now I can play games where I can be a fox or a dragon or a unicorn, or I can go online and I can talk about My Little Pony, and there are so many distractions that didn't exist back then, and I think that is my saddest thing, that I have allowed myself to get misled, I guess, in a way. And I think had I continued my path with the passion and drive that I had as a 10 or 12-year-old girl, I would be in a far different situation now. I would probably be published, which is something I haven't properly been yet, and I most certainly would be earning a lot more money, I think, than I am now. Not to say, to me personally, making money is the main goal. To me, it's always been about that people love what I create, and it still surprises me that I go to a convention and sell my stuff, and people say that they'll hang this picture on their wall, or they'll buy things with it on and say how much it made them laugh, or they'll talk about, like, a comic I've created and tell me that that made them laugh at work. And that is the strangest thing to me, that people love what I do to the point that they, you know, it makes real reactions and real emotions from them. And I think that's always been my most important thing. When I was a kid, I didn't dream of being a famous? I didn't dream of being a famous author or writer. I just dreamed of being an author or a writer or a cartoonist or an animator. I just wanted to make this stuff. And I guess that is why a lot of people do move away from it. They decide they want to get into something that actually makes money, which as you're an adult you kind of do need. You know, I'm not going to try and wax lyrical and be a hippie about, oh, you don't need money, man, do what makes you happy. Because, yeah, you need money, you need to pay bills and you need to do things, and in my case, buy video games and TF2 hats. But I just think it's really interesting how so many people, as kids, are so straight on what they want to do. This is what I want to do, this is what I will be, and they just move away from that. And I was wondering if either of, you know, if any of you guys have had that, where you were so certain you would be something, you were so certain you would be a vet, or you were so determined to be an actress. I had a friend who was dead set on being an actress. She went to acting classes and everything, and now she's a full-time mum, and that's honourable, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But it wasn't a choice she actually made. She didn't sit down and go, right, now I will do this, I will no longer pursue an acting career. It just happened, and I think that's a lot of the case. There are very few people who are doing a different job in adulthood than what they dreamed about as a child because they chose to do it. I don't think limitation is there. Obviously you're not going to be Spider-Man, so you kind of have to become an accountant instead, you know. But that, you know, there are limitations that either are self-imposed or that just happen. And I think the thing that makes me kick myself is the fact that I haven't got any of those limitations. I am still doing what I've always wanted to do, but I'm not doing it at the drive, you know, and the ferocity, is that a word, that I used to do it at. And I think that's what makes me kick myself, you know. My 12-year-old self would be kicking me in the shin right now for letting go of something that is so important, and was important then, and is certainly important now. And yeah, this video, I took all this from this video, and it's made me sort of go, wow, so many people do lose track, and they either want to or it happens. And you know, a lot of people don't care. They grow up and they think, oh, that was something that was fun, but now I'm a lawyer, or now I do this, or now I do that. And that's cool, that's great. You know, if you're happy with the path you've chosen and you're happy with the way life is taking you, that's fine. But I do think it is really sad when it does just happen that life gets in the way and you lose track. Like this guy's life, he's obviously happy, he's still creative, but he obviously missed that part of his life, that facet of his personality that he no longer has, to the point that he has done this video and done a sort of campaign to motivate himself into getting back into what he used to do. And yeah, I mean, this became a much deeper video than I intended it to be, so I'm sorry, I didn't, you know, it's just basically, what would you tell your 10-year-old self if you could chat to them now? And with your 10 or 12, I keep going back to 10-year-old self, but 12-year-old self, what would they say to you now? Would they be happy with the way you've gone? Would they be sad that you gave up your collection of Pokemon cards? Would they care? I mean, my 10-year-old self probably isn't a whole lot different from where I am now. I still collect My Little Ponies, I still draw silly things, I still play video games, so I'm not a whole lot different. But I know some people are, and that's either their choice or life's gone in the way. And I was just interested to hear if anyone out there, not just the channel people, because I kind of know what you guys, you know, would want to do or are doing. But anyone watching this, maybe I've made you think. Maybe you suddenly realise, oh man, when I was a kid I really wanted to be a singer, and now all I do is sing in the shower. Maybe if I can motivate you to go back and go into singing class or apply for things or just anything, I think that would be really cool, because I think it's a shame to lose hold of the things that you were so passionate about as a kid. I think the saddest thing in the world is to become a grown-up and have no passion or drive whatsoever, and I do know people like that, and they're happy enough, I guess. I just don't understand personally how they are, because they have no drive or passion for anything beyond the day-to-day routine. And again, you know, if that's what they want to do, that more power to them, you know. But it's just shocking, I think, when you do look back, you know, if you had a yearbook photo, which we don't do in England, for what you wanted to do, most likely to be, and if you had that for when you were 10 as opposed to 16 or however old yearbook photos do that, would it make you sad, or would it make you motivated, or would it make you happy? You'd be sad that you haven't done it, you'd be motivated to try and do it, you'd be happy that you've either done it or you've moved away from it in such a way that makes you happy. I don't know, it's just something to think about. It's made me sort of get pretty reflectful today, and I'm not even going to edit this video that much because I'm so sort of rambly in my head about it that I think I've come across pretty accurately on this video. So yeah, there's that. Have any of you changed your path from what you wanted to do as a child, or have you sort of embraced it and continued it, or have you looked back and realised that that was really stupid and you're not going to be a space marine, you have to move on to something else? Yeah, so there's that. On a slightly related note, I bit the bullet and booked a ticket to B.U.C.K, which is the B.U.C.K convention. I'm going to sell my arts there, see how it's related. I wasn't going to go, and I don't really know why. I'm kind of kicking myself that I've let it so last minute, because it's like mid-August, and we're already in sort of mid-July. I kind of heard it was in Manchester and thought, no, I can't possibly do that. But since I've got such a big gap in conventions between May Expo and October Expo, there's only PonyCon, which also is in October, in the way, I figured, no, sod it, I'm going to go there. So I haven't thought of how I'm going to afford to get all the way to Manchester, and I haven't thought about how I'm going to afford to get a hotel in Manchester. But, yeah, I'm going to be at B.U.C, so if there are any bronies watching, or pony collectors, or anything at all watching, I hope there's anything at all watching. You can say anyone at all, so if you're an alien, hi. Nanu Nanu? I don't know what this is. Devil Horn Nanu Nanu. Yeah, that's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I've got nothing. I wanted to keep this video short. I hope I can make it short. I hope it's not 20 billion years long. I'm going to go and hopefully draw and most likely play Skyrim, because despite all the motivational ass-kicking I just gave myself, I am so incredibly lazy. I'm going to draw. I'm going to try and finish a couple of commissions I've got. I've been working on my website. See, I have been doing something vaguely productive today. I've been working on my website. And then Moose called me and I got very angry at him because he said that I should draw more. So everything that's happened today has been tenuously linked to the fact that I'm basically making this video to tell myself to draw more. So I'm going to go do that. Sarah, I will see you on Wednesday. And Laura, I know you're uploading your video sometime. So whenever you upload that, I can't wait to see it. I know it's going to be really interesting because I know the reason you've been late for doing it. So guys, you've got a really good couple of videos to watch. So yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Bye.